Hello, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Chat Daily Dose. Some Cricket Daily coming back at you. We are getting back into the flow of things after our little break that we had last week, but we are ripping and tearing with some cricket today. We're going to have you a quick daily rundown of the cricket to come over the next day or so, as well as some little bits of news that have caught our eye in the cricket landscape. If you're enjoying the cricket content, make sure to hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel, and get involved in those comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to upcoming over the next couple of months in the cricket. We've got international series still taking place. We'll head into the IPL and the PSL very soon as well. Can't wait for those big tournaments to get underway. And of course, you can follow along on our socials to get your sports shorts snippets at The Chris Mack Show, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can find us across all of those. And of course, here on our home on YouTube. But let's get into it. Let's start with the New Zealand versus South Africa men's second T20 international. And this series, well, it's very much about squad depth and emerging talent, especially as a few players are now being scratched from this game. Both teams are starting to run experimental squads, I guess you could say, following that T20 World Cup, starting to look and explore a little bit more of their depth and what might sit outside their regular starting 11s. The first game in this series at Mount Maunganui was, it's fair to say, heavily influenced by conditions. It was a tough surface for batting. 184 total runs scored, 13 wickets fell in just 31 overs. South Africa certainly adapted much better and took early control of the series. We now move to Seddon Park in Hamilton, which is generally and historically a much better venue for run scoring. 8 of the last 13 T20s at Seddon Park have seen scores of 180 plus in the first innings. So you would certainly expect that we're going to see significantly more runs. This one could actually be one decided primarily by the batters as opposed to the bowlers. And New Zealand have a wonderful record here at Seddon Park in the T20s. 10 of their 13 matches have been wins for the men from New Zealand. For New Zealand, their squad, the key talking point, Kateen Clark, who peeled 97 of 58 balls recently for Northern Districts, a classic aggressive opener, really explosive, and could provide the quick start New Zealand missed in Game 1. They've got some injury issues, as I alluded to off the top. Bevan Jacobs is out with a bruised knee from this game, while Ish Sodhi's also been ruled out of the whole series with a broken thumb. There's certainly going to be some pressure on some of those names in the middle order, you would think, the likes of Tim Robinson, Nick Kelly, and Josh Clarkson, and they need to show some resilience and some run scoring to make sure they're securing their places into the future. In terms of the spotlight, Lockie Ferguson's probably the man in the brightest of lights. He's one of New Zealand's biggest weapons when firing in T20 cricket. He had a strong T20 World Cup up through to the final, but had a nightmare outing in that last game. 48 runs he conceded from 2 overs. Be interesting to see what he can deal with here in Hamilton. As I said, it's a run-scoring pitch, but Ferguson has some good form. Last time he played here in a T20 International, he took 2 for 25 from 4 overs. So certainly one to watch. For South Africa's squad, they're a young attack, and they were outstanding in Game 1. Those 3 names that we saw star, Gerald Coetzee was one of those, Otniel Bartman, and Nokbani Mokena. The 19-year-old quick all starred, controlled the match with the ball. Bartman was especially impressive, and he's a name that will continue to emerge, but all 3 did very well. The player to watch for the South Africans, for me, is Tony de Zorzi. He missed the T20 World Cup due to injury. South Africa reached the semi-finals without him, but this series is a big opportunity for him to try and cement a regular starting spot in the top 11 for the South Africans. Well, in terms of the match, though, Hamilton, as I said, the conditions suggest far more runs. We expect a more traditionally high-scoring T20. And New Zealand, they'll be desperate to level this series at 1-1 on a home soil. We flip the script now and we go to the women's game. And again, it is New Zealand taking on South Africa. New Zealand lead this series 1-0. They had a dominant win in Game 1, winning by 80 runs, posting 190 for 7, with Georgia Plimmer and Amelia Kerr starring. Plimmer with 63 from 44, Amelia Kerr 78 from 44. Sophie Devine taking 4 wickets and Jess Kerr taking 2 wickets. It was a dominant performance by the New Zealand ladies' side. South Africa, they had their issues. They were chasing 191 and only managed 110 for 7. Run scoring seems to be a bit of a challenge for them at the moment. Tamsin Brits was the only one to get past 25. She hit 29. They certainly need much more intent and partnership structure if they're going to take on this very strong New Zealand side, and it's time for them to bounce back. New Zealand will be aiming for a 2-0 series lead. South Africa will definitely be searching for a batting response. If they can close that gap and just get an incremental improvement on both batting and bowling, they might be in the contest, but New Zealand certainly have a significant amount of momentum heading into Game 2, and we're really looking forward to seeing how this one shapes up as the Kiwi women look to extend their lead in this series. Moving on to some news, and the Sheffield Shield final is locked in. Despite the final round still being in action, the final has been confirmed thanks to the permutations of bonus points. South Australia will take on Victoria at Junction Oval in Victoria on the 26th of March. And the way it played out, well, Victoria finished day 2 at 266 for 5 against South Australia, with Campbell Kellaway on 66, Ollie Peake 44 not out, and Will Sutherland at 42 not out. They then bowled South Australia out for 305, but that was enough for South Australia to secure 1.05 batting bonus points, while Queensland's collapse against Tasmania in Hobart locked South Australia into the final and meant that the two sides that are currently clashing at the Junction Oval will meet there again in just over a week's time to decide the 2025-26 Sheffield Shield. And South Australia will have that opportunity to defend their title in the final from last year. The Bulls, well, they were bowled out for 178 versus Tasmania, could no longer catch South Australia on points. And that does mean that Usman Khawaja's first-class career for Queensland is over. He will be denied a final Shield match, with the 39-year-old having confirmed this is his last first-class season. What a wonderful first-class career he's had, but we won't see him in the Queensland colours in the longer format again. In other news across the tournament, the biggest probably talking point, Cameron Green returning to form. Coming back from the T20 World Cup, Green peeled off a century for WA against New South Wales. And let's be fair, he'd had a tough Ashes series, so certainly a key piece for him. He came in with WA 33 for 2 and managed to peel off his 100 off 167 balls. It's his first red ball century since his English sojourn last year, and certainly shows a bit of momentum for him to close out the season. So great to see. Hopefully he can carry that into Australia's series of tests against Bangladesh. In other news, IPL news, we're going to talk KKR, and Harshit Rana is likely to miss most, if not all, of the T20 competition of the IPL this season as he recovers from knee surgery. The injury occurred during the T20 World Cup warm-up matches and ruled him out of the T20 World Cup. There is no confirmed return timeline yet, but it could be, as I alluded to there, maybe a second tournament in succession after that T20 World Cup that could be missed due to his knee injury. So we hope it's not the case, but we'll wait and see. In other KKR news, KKR have been forced to release Mustafiza Rahman. This is due to the ongoing India-Bangladesh geopolitical tensions. They do bring in Blessing Muzarabani, the Zimbabwe quick, who was an absolute breakout at the T20 World Cup. The Zimbabwe quick withdrew from his PSL contract that was announced during the T20 World Cup to essentially move on to an upgraded contract with the IPL with the Kolkata Knight Riders. So he will come into that squad. So still some player movement as we count down into the last week or so heading into the IPL for this year. But that is today's Cricket Daily. Let us know your predictions in the comment for both the New Zealand and South Africa men's and women's matches. How do you see them shaping up? Who's going to be the key stars? Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And you, of course, can follow us along on our social media channels at The Chris Mack Show on your favourite social media platforms. We look forward to catching you again very, very soon with another Cricket Daily.